Let's see here. Up a little bit too high. What's up, everybody? I think we're live. Happy New Year. Hopefully you can hear me. The gear's still working. Check 1, 2. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome. We got a great turnout here after a 2-week absence. So I super appreciate you joining tonight. See who we got. Elias in snowy New York. Happy New Year, my friend. Rusty in Jersey. Happy New Year as well. Adam from Seattle. It's raining there. Erica, what's up? Good to see you. Happy New Year. Peter from Sydney. All right. Good day. Well, a wonderful 2022. Back at you. MA from Tacoma. Not raining currently there. Okay. Good to see you, MA. Russ. Steve O, Ken Garrison from Jersey, snowy Jersey. All right, snowy here in Nashville area, right? We've been snowed in the last couple of days. It's going to warm up tomorrow. Bob, what's up in Denver? Getting the snow now, finally. Rui, what's up? Good evening. Adam. Yes. All right, Jody 1. Happy New Year's. Jim King from Ontario, Windsor. All right. Happy New Year, my friend. All right. Nikki the dog is back. What's up? John McCarthy, what's up? Jim Gregory, of course. Happy New Year. Igor from Mexico City, welcome. Thanks for joining. Dennis, Happy New Year. HH from Ottawa, all right. Welcome back. Happy New Year from Florida. Carlos, welcome. Richard from Massachusetts, Happy New Year. My beanie's on backwards. What's on backwards? Oh, the neck's on backwards. Yeah. This is a new... showing off a new toy here that I put together, a little parts caster on the break, a little Telecaster style in a Jazzmaster body, right, with the upside down neck. Digging it. All right, a Fender Telecaster for Christmas for Glenn. Well, that is awesome. Congrats. Audible Headache, what's up? MAR, happy Friday. Good to see you. Mick from Australia. All right, good to see you. Good day. Rob, welcome. 2 weeks into Guitar Tricks. Excellent. Thanks for joining. Zane, what's up? Looking forward to 2022. Love it. From Arkansas, Danny Ryan. All right. Welcome. From New Mexico, Red Wine. I love it. Paul, happy Friday night. Back at you. All right. Raymond from Connecticut. What's going on? Chad, thank you so much. Thanks for coming back. Ozman, of course. Yeah, we got so many of you guys joining back in. I super appreciate that. Tien from Saigon. All right. Welcome. James from St. Louis. Melbourne. Craig is back. Happy New Year, sir. Scott from Jersey in the house. King 50. All right. From Northern Nevada. What's up? Happy New Year. And Andre. All right, just get your glass of wine for a Friday night, right? From California, Jeff, what's up? Well, everybody, welcome. And Chad got the Evo for Christmas, or at least he got it. All right, well, great job. That's a lot of fun to play around with. For those of you just joining for the first time, expand the description. There is a link to tabs for what we're going to go over tonight, okay? Blaze, what's up? I hope I said that right. I don't think it's Blase. Is it Blaze? Alonzo, Happy New Year. All right. Just a note on the guitar here. I put together, this is like kind of the parts caster, right? And what I noticed, I love Telecasters, but I have a hard time standing up playing a Telecaster. And what I realized is that sort of the Jazzmaster body is a lot more ergonomic standing, at least for me. So I wanted to put together a Tele kind of thing with the Jazzmaster body and make it sort of a stand-up guitar, even though I'm sitting down playing it tonight. So that was the thought behind that. I put some Lawler pickups in here, and I'm super happy with it. I need to kind of take it in to get a final tweak of everything, but it's playing and singing pretty nice. So I wanted to debut it tonight, all right? All right. Andre, he's back. Quebec City, all right. He is back. Excellent. James, all right, from Santa Clarita. All right, excellent. Yeah, thanks, Chad. Just a spray paint can of Krylon, right? I can't believe how well it turned out. I think it looks really cool. It's kind of like this charcoal frost, sort of, a little bit. You see that grain in there? I like the way it turned out. All right. From Brisbane, Mike McC. All right. Or Mike MC from Brisbane. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so let's get at it. As always with the guitar workout, just some exercises, some little things that might focus on a technique, might focus on some sort of a musical idea, and definitely something that hopefully inspires to get you to add some things into your practice routine, or get you inspired to at least pick it up and kind of try out these things and make them your own a little bit, right? Cool. All right, so we always start this thing off with a chromatic style warm up, of which there are many, many variations. So this one I've actually done quite a few months ago, so I thought I'd bring it back out because this one's really cool. What's up, John? Happy New Year. Good to see you. This one is actually a great warm-up because it's a group of 5. And what we would usually do is some sort of a group of 4 on each string, right? We work each finger on each string. So a lot of times you would just do some sort of, 4 in a row and then 4 in a row. And what that does is it's a little bit easier to get into a flow because your picking is down, up on each string. So when you change strings, you're changing on a downstroke. Okay, and that's a lot easier to get into a flow with, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start throwing in the group of 5, now you're going to be crossing the strings a lot more frequently and not necessarily on a downstroke, okay? Because we want to keep that alternate picking going throughout the entire exercise, okay? So that's the whole idea behind this, is instead of just doing the 4th fret, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then going to the next string and doing the same thing, I'm adding one more note onto it. So let's just say the 4th fret of the 5th string, right? And I'm going to get that on a downstroke. But then on the next upstroke, I'm coming back down to the low string and starting on one note up from where I started from that group of 5. Okay? So if I put this all together in steady time, it would sound like this. Okay. Now what's happening is that you are transitioning between 2 different strings back and forth throughout that. And that can be a little bit challenging, especially when you want to keep the down, up going. Okay, so this is a really great exercise. You're going to want to start really slow with this. But if I'm going to take it all the way up, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so maybe you can play along. We'll go slowly with this. 1, 2, 3, E and 4, E and okay, so a little bit more involved than just going 4 notes per string all the way up and then coming back down in reverse, okay? But highly recommend that we, kind of mess around with that a little bit, because you are going to definitely get a workout transitioning from string to string, okay? Now, what do we do? I didn't tab this out, obviously, and I kind of stopped on the first couple strings, right, in this exercise 1 from the handout. But what you can do is move it up 1 fret and do it in reverse. So if I'm working on from the 5th fret, your index finger, to the 8th fret with your pinky, and then coming down from the highest note, you want to go down 5 notes at a time. Okay, like that. So if you put that together, and I'll do it a little bit faster just to demonstrate. That kind of thing. You come all the way back down, right? So cool little exercise, right? Maybe I'll just run through it once, sort of medium tempo a little bit, and just do one completely up, move up a fret, and do one completely down. Maybe we can try that. All right. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a down, up, down, up. I messed it up. All right, so there's sort of an example of how to do it with one little clam in there. I apologize. I clearly need to add this to my practice routine as well. And always a good idea on these kind of things to work with a metronome, right? Go nice and slow and work on trying to just lock with that click, okay? And really build in that stuff, right? All right, so let's see. We got Nicky the Dog finished Jingle Bell Rock. Didn't even know what a D sharp diminished seventh was until that. Well, there you go. And actually, yeah, that song is on Guitar Tricks, and there's lots of cool chords in that song. I think we did that the last session, and I just gave a little snippet of it. But cool stuff, right? Cool chords. Kenneth, what's up? Happy New Year. James, what's up? Emmanuel, hey, what's up? And Elias checked out the new fundamentals course with Anders, which is brand new. If you haven't seen it, both level 1 and level 2 of fundamentals got redone with Anders, and it's really great. If you're looking for a refresher, Elias highly recommends it. So there you go. Excellent. Okay, so that's our chromatic warm-up. Let's usually the next thing we do is some sort of a strumming exercise. This is exercise 2. About halfway down the first page, and a very simple strumming of some 2 chords here with a little bit of a variation. So I'm just going to play this first, and we'll talk about it. So it sounds something like this. Okay. So what we've got here is sort of the upper part of full bar chords. So this is optional, of course, if you'd like to add some of the lower notes in, right? So if you look at the first chord, we've got an F chord, but we start on the 4th string or the D string, 3rd fret, 2nd fret of the G, and then barring down on the top 2 strings, 1st fret. This is the upper part of what would be a full F bar chord, okay? But sometimes we just play the upper parts of that, and that's totally cool, right? Makes it sound a little more focused and a little more cuts through, right? Let's see, Mike, no more Lisa on basic fundamentals. That course is still on there, okay? So you have your choice on Guitar Tricks. There's now both of the fundamentals courses, okay? There's the original one with Lisa is not going anywhere. It's still on there. But we have a brand new one that Anders did that's a little bit different, okay? He takes sort of some different approaches than Lisa did. So it's really just your personal preference. And now you have some options if you're working your way through fundamentals, okay? So that's what's going on with that. All right, so if you wanted to add in the A string or the 5th string, you can certainly do that with the 3rd fret on the F chord. Makes it sound a little thicker, right? If you that or that, and then of course the full F bar chord. So you have all sorts of different variations, different sounds that you can go for with this. Blaze, will there ever be reading music or theory course ever? Possibly. There might be. I think they're looking at adding some more content, maybe some more core sort of stuff like that. So that's definitely a possibility, hopefully sooner than later. But there is a little bit of reading music. And of course, all of our core courses do cover theory. It's just not on its own. It's always as, when you're in the middle of learning some technique and whatever style you're kind of learning, we'll sprinkle that theory in there. Okay. But that is certainly possible to have like a separate course just for those. I don't know of any concrete plans for that, but certainly I am sure that they are probably considering something like that. Okay. Jim, all right, we got another +1 on fundamentals with Anders. Excellent. Yes, and Rui has a great suggestion here, Blaze, for Christopher Schlegel. Our instructor has some great theory content on his page. So what you can do on Guitar Tricks is if you click on the instructor, if you click on the instructor's name, it takes you to a link of all of his lessons. And Christopher's got quite an extensive page with lots of theory content. If you're looking for a little bit more, almost like sort of mini courses, right? And it's all laid out for you on his specific instructor page, as Jim is also saying. So there you go. All right, so back to exercise 2. Now we've got some syncopation in this because if you look at the rhythm of this, we've got a down up, and we're talking 8th note strum. So 1 and then on the second beat, I've got a rest. So I'm cutting off the chord. I'm also going to be moving up the same shape up 2 frets. So that becomes a G chord, right? G major, that same shape up 2 frets. And I'm going to come back in on an upstroke. And then another up going into a down. And then another rest. So cutting it off. So. Now, what I recommend, and most of you know that I talk about this all the time, is that in order to keep steady time, I encourage you to keep this motion going, even if you're not striking the strings, okay? So you see when it comes to the rest, you could either do the motion and kind of karate chop down to cut off the chord, like that. Or another thing you could do is cut off the chord because there's no open strings, right? You can cut off the chord by just lifting your fretting fingers off the frets, but not the strings. And it cuts off the chord. So if you did that, you could keep this motion going and then come back in for the upstroke on the G chord. Okay. Keeping this motion going is very helpful. Okay, even better if you've got your foot going. Okay, and that everything tends to sync up a little bit as you're strumming. And if your foot's going as well, your arm wants to kind of lock with that foot a little bit. So these are sort of some things to maybe try and help you get some nice solid timing going with a syncopated rhythm like this, which basically means we're not, we're doing some upstrokes in there and we're kind of doing some rests. Okay, so that the strum has some texture. It's not just, right? It's got a lot more texture to it. If you look ahead to the second part of this exercise, I've added in some muted strums. So what tends to happen when you get a little bit quicker with these kind of strums is that it feels very natural to kind of strike the strings in a percussive way, but you're not really fretting anything. So it might sound something like this. Okay, so I'm hitting some of that stuff, right? I'm striking the strings, but I'm not holding the chord. I'm going to be moving to the G chord. makes a cool little percussive sound. And a lot of times we do that, especially at higher tempos, just to sort of keep the groove a little bit. That's the kind of the idea with that. So play around with that a little bit, right? And particularly with this, whether it's a downstroke or an upstroke, you know, it's just you're not going to have your fingers down on a chord. You're going to be holding the strings to give it that percussive chicking sound. Okay? Makes sense? All right. Exercise 3, some arpeggiation exercises. This one's kind of cool because we've got a down, down, up, up motion on the picking that sort of stays consistent. And we've also got an open string ringing out. And we're playing some, you know, sort of inferring some chord shapes around that open string. So what I've got is the 10th fret of the G and B string. You can see it's a down, down starting on the G and B, and then an up, up on the high string and B string, and you repeat that again. And what chord is this? Well, I'm taking 2 notes from what would be a full D minor bar chord, okay, but I'm just playing 2 notes on the G and B string, and then adding in that open E string gives it that floaty sound, right? You're adding an E note, which would be a 2 or a 9, to the D minor. Okay, so it's sort of a D minor 9 sound, right? I'm using my middle finger and my ring finger to grab the G and B string, because the next chord, I'm going to come down and get the 9th fret of the G, 8th fret of the B, and it sets me up to be able to use the middle finger on the G string and my index finger now on the B string. And so that one is, you can think of it kind of 2 ways. It's either an E minor kind of thing or a C major. Okay. Because you've really only got 2 notes and you're adding an E note to it, and in this case, there's 2 of the same note. There's an E here and there's the exact same note on the open string. Okay, so sometimes that happens. You start throwing in some open strings with some chord shapes and moving them around. You might get some of the same notes happening, but still sounds really cool. You're going to move that back down to the 7th fret of the G, 6th fret of the B, and now we're playing out of 2 notes out of this D minor chord in 5th position, right? With the root on the 5th string. Okay, and then you got that cool sound. And then I'm back to the original shape, 5th fret of the G string, 5th fret of the B string. Now in this case, I'm sort of targeting a C major chord right here. And again, you've got an E note and an E note, but it still sounds nice. You put it together. Right? So some cool ideas, you know, just sort of the bigger picture thing here is to, you know, think of larger chords, pick out a couple notes from those chords, and maybe try it against a random open string. If it happens to work, then you kind of move some shapes around, incorporating a few notes out of chord shapes as well as open strings, and you come up with some pretty nice stuff sometimes, right? That's the idea with that. And of course, you're working on an arpeggiation pattern that's nice and consistent, so you can, you know, work on changing these chord shapes nice and smooth and working on your timing and smoothness as well. E. Philip 4, what's up? I'm struggling with timing and beats. What are your recommendations, and are there lessons on guitar tricks? Absolutely. Okay, so if you're struggling with timing, look to the fundamentals course and look for the chapters on timing, okay? And really work on those lessons, those tutorials. But really the biggest thing that you can do to help yourself, and I know a lot of my regulars know this, you've got to slow everything down. It's dangerous to try and play stuff too fast, okay? That's where you kind of get tripped up and where your timing gets messed up, okay? So what you want to do is slow stuff way down, okay? So what I recommend doing is, finding some of these exercises or some of these things in the timing chapters of fundamentals and slowing the video down, okay? Sometimes the instructor might be going a little bit faster than what you can, sort of hang on to, right? But there are speed buttons on the videos, okay? On the left-hand side of the video frame, you'll see these speed buttons that you can slow down to 90%, 75%, okay? Play along with those videos, play along with the instructor, and really try to lock in, okay? So the key is to go really slow and just continue to try and lock in with whatever reference you're using, whether it's the instructor playing on the video, whether it's a metronome or a drum groove or whatever it is, okay? There you go. Danny saying fundamentals 2, great lessons for timing using scales. That too, even playing scales, the warm-up exercise in the beginning of this session tonight. Great candidates for you to be able to, just go really slow and work on getting those beats down, getting your timing down. All right, Rob. Yes, the speed buttons, so valuable, okay? And beyond guitar tricks, even on YouTube, there are speed buttons that you can control the speed of YouTube videos, and it doesn't change the pitch. So if you have guitar videos on YouTube, go into the settings cogwheel and slow it down. You can slow it down to 75%, 50%, okay? Hopefully that helps you. All right, so arpeggiation exercise, as always, into a triad exercise, exercise 4. A lot of times when we talk about triads, and for those of you who don't know what triads are, 3 notes, okay, 3-note chords. And so they're really economical chords. A lot of times we look at, full open chords or bar chords, and you've got, 6 notes, 5 notes in them. Triads are specifically 3-note chords. And so you get these triad shapes on the fretboard for a major chord and for a minor chord. James is asking, any plans to add a custom speed? That would be really nice, like some sort of dial to, just get it in. I'm not sure that's possible with the video encoding they use on guitar tricks. It's sort of beyond my realm. I don't know exactly what's up with that. So I'm not sure about that. I'll ask around and see if something like that's possible. My guess is it's probably not, because I think they use some sort of a third-party video. I don't even know what the right word is, but there's some sort of, it's not video hosting, but it's some sort of video platform that they use for the videos. And so maybe it is possible. I would love to send that along to the powers that be. So I will definitely try and do that. And hopefully in the future, that would be really handy. All right. So most of the time when we're talking about triads, we're talking about a major chord, a minor chord, okay? Because those just need 3 notes, right? The root, third, and fifth. If you have a major third in the chord, you've got a major chord. If you've got a major minor third in the chord, you've got a minor chord, okay? So it's good to learn these triad shapes, and a lot of times in these sessions, I'll focus on, the more common ones, the D, G, and B string shapes, and then the G, B, and E string shapes. But tonight, I thought let's play some of the lower strings and get familiar with those shapes. So the first one is an A major triad, 5th position, the 7th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D, 6th fret of the G string. Okay, just 3 notes. So you've got E, A, C sharp. So this is actually an inversion, right? Because the root is in the middle. Got the A in the middle, the third up top, and the 5th on the bottom. So this is what's known as a second inversion major triad shape. You don't need to know that kind of stuff if you don't want to, but all right, so this rhythm goes like this. Okay? And so I'm adding the 7th fret of the G string onto the chord, which makes it a sus4, suspended 4. Now moving it down to a minor chord shape. This is an F sharp minor triad, 4th fret of the A, 4th fret of the D, 2nd fret of the G string. Kind of two ways you can play this. You can get the index finger on the G string, stretch that middle finger to the 4th fret of the A, and then the ring finger on the 4th fret of the D string. That allows you to get the pinky on that next part, right? Rusty, we're on exercise 4. Exercise 4. Okay. Other way I could do it is with the ring and pinky, and then just flatten the pinky down like that. Okay. And we go back to the same shape that we used for A, but now it's an open E position. So once again, a second inversion major triad, this time for E. Playing the same riff. And then in that last bar, I went to some 8th note strums on a D major triad shape. So this is a completely different shape with the root as the lowest note. 5th fret of the A string going to the 4th fret of the D, 2nd fret of the G. So you put it together, it's going to sound like this. Okay. Just kind of a cool riff idea using some sus chords. And again, just introducing, if you haven't seen these before, these triad shapes on the lower strings, because they are just as useful, maybe not as commonly used as the upper strings, but still useful to know, right? So there's a major triad shape. There's the minor, right? You see like the major, the 3rd is 1 fret down, but then to go minor, you move that down 1 fret, right? So that's how we get that minor here. And then, of course, that alternate shape for major, which starts with the root, 1 fret down on the next string for the 3rd, and then 2 frets down from there on the next string for the 5th. D major right there. Make sense? Iranda from Sri Lanka. All right, it's 7 a.m. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Excellent, excellent. Glenn, having trouble getting fingers on the upper frets. Specifically, how do you mean? Having trouble getting three fingers on the upper frets. Are we talking about the previous exercise, maybe? Cool, Jim. Yeah, I was thinking maybe, kind of, switch it up a little bit on those strings, but definitely useful, right? Hard stretch right here. Yeah, doing it this way. You have to kind of go diagonal, I find, to do that. Or you can do the flatten it. That way. Oh, this one. Yeah, that's a tough one, right? So here's how to do this, Rusty. If any of you are finding it really difficult to spread it, because we're down here in the 2nd position, okay? That's kind of tough, right? So I just move this shape up to maybe the 12th fret, okay? It's a little bit closer together here, and just kind of work your way down and, kind of go on and off and get your fingers used to the stretch and keep working your way down. Okay, you'll find where it starts to become harder and harder. You're going to want to work repetition in that area, just going on and off. Okay, like that. Okay, all it takes is like a minute a day or a couple minutes a day, right? And keep trying to work your way down to where it's really stretching down here. Okay, and loosen up those fingers. And you don't want to get them to hurt at all, but you do need to kind of, burn it in a little bit. Thinking about a 3/4 guitar. There you go. The Jingle Bell Rock D. There it is. Yes. It is a tough one. Have trouble getting 3 fingers on the upper frets. Glenn, single fret. Not sure exactly what you're referring to. I'm really sorry. Sometimes I don't get exactly what you're going for out of the chat. So, as much detail as you can kind of type in for me, and I'll do my best try and answer that for you. MA, bar the second and the fourth and fifth aren't as much as a stretch. There you go. Like that, right? You want to be careful though, because if you're barring the second fret, right? And if your strum gets a little enthusiastic, you'll turn that into a D major 7, which you may or may not want, right? Because a D major, you actually have to put your middle finger down on the 3rd fret to kind of extend that chord. This is like one of the caged shapes. So just a word of warning on the barring of it. That's a nice voicing for a major 7 chord, D major 7 right there. I don't know where the chords and the notes are outside the first position. Well, this is where triads get really useful. You start unlocking sort of those shapes and understanding how things look on the fretboard. I recommend checking out some caged lessons on Guitar Tricks. There, if you type in caged, Christopher Schlegel's got a great introduction to the caged chords system, so that you can start to relate, all those chords out of the first position. They can all be moved up the fretboard if you just add an extra finger, right? Like imagine your first finger becomes a capo, and then all the open position chords move up the neck. And that's basically all it is. Okay. C, A, G, E, D. It can be a little confusing, but keep trying. All right. You'll get it. All right. Let's see. A sus4. Oh, 7th. Oh, here we go. This one. This is what you're talking about. Tough to get it here. Okay, Glenn, thank you for that. Yeah, and again, if it's like kind of just really tight in there to get, you can do the smash it down. Okay, use the 2 fingers and kind of mash it down to get the G string. I like that, Rui. It's called cage, but it frees you from the cage of the fretboard. I like that. And Mike, yeah, good suggestion. In the chord finder in Guitar Tricks helps with cage. You can see the chords slide up and down the neck. Yeah, absolutely. Good. And again, maybe something to work on this is take the E shape, right? And move up the neck and see where it starts to become and get to sort of an area of the neck where you can do it, but maybe the next one isn't quite, you can't quite fit it in there, and just try to work that pinky a little bit more. But yeah, just find a spot on the neck where you're right at the edge of not being able to do it, and just work on it in that spot, and see if maybe you can just make adjustments to be able to make it happen, and then keep moving up the neck. Makes sense. All right. Exercise 5, the blues rock riff. I find this kind of useful, playing out of a chord and then sort of ending up in your blues minor pentatonic position. So I'm going to start. Actually, let's just play this. That's the riff, okay? So we're starting on an A power chord. 7th position, 7th fret of the D string, 9th fret of the G, 10th fret of the B string. Okay? Couple strums and then a rest. And then we're going to get into the upstrokes. Down, or I'm playing them all with downstrokes. What I'm talking about are the offbeats. Okay? 1 and 1 and 3 4. I think it, or and 2 3 is actually what it is. So the ands are sort of the offbeats, right? So okay, start with that power chord. Then the next one is the power chord on the 2 lower strings, but then you're adding in the G note. So it's sort of now it's sort of, you know, inferring a dominant 7th. Okay, it sounds a little like a Kiss riff, right? I was thinking a little AC/DC too. Definitely kind of a, yeah, a little bit of a Kiss riff or an AC/DC. Okay, so this one where I've got the 7th fret of the D and G and the 8th fret of the B, got a D sus4 to a D major triad, 7th fret, and then just coming down 2 frets and grabbing, you know, just sort of a real typical bluesy thing out of the minor pentatonic box, right? Stonesy too, yeah, there you go. That kind of thing. Okay, so I'm grabbing the 5th fret of just the G and B string. It's called a double stop, 2 notes at the same time. I'm just doing that bluesy bend on it, right? So I'm pulling that. Oh yeah, there you go. No More Mr. Nice Guy, Alice Cooper too, right? It's amazing how many riffs have that shape to it, right? Okay, so I'm adding that bend on there, and I'm actually pulling it down towards the floor, but if you can push it up, that works too. And just landing on the A note again with some vibrato. So all right, I think yeah, what do we got? Something like that, right? I think of yeah, Cold Gin. Cold Gin's more like this. That's that one, I think. Anyway, same idea, but it's cool to kind of come down and find those notes that you're transitioning out of the power chord. Very common to kind of come down. A lot of people do that kind of thing, even like if you're soloing kind of. That kind of thing, right? So good to know kind of some of those shapes in there. Cool. Alrighty. So we're going to get back into rhythm guitar here, exercise 6. For those of you following along, this is a blues shuffle strum. This is going to be sort of focused on an upstroke. And also, we've got the shuffle going, okay? So, some of you might know this, some of you might not. So just a little bit of a primer into the different feels. We've got a straight strum feel, and we've got a shuffle strum feel. The shuffle strum feel is very common in a genre like blues, right? You've got that bluesy bounce, that shuffle. So if I were to play, this is a B7 we're starting with. B7 bar chord, 7th position, bar down at the 7th fret, got the 9th fret of the A and the 8th fret of the G. Thanks, Rob. Keeping it clean for the new year, all right? He's commenting on the tint of my drink. Good old water will get me through here tonight. So straight time would be, if I was doing a down up, straight time means that the downs and ups are equally spaced. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. But if we moved that upstroke closer to the next downstroke, you start to get that shuffle swing feel, Okay, so straight into shuffle. So always think like kind of that classic bluesy kind of sound. That's what we're going for here. Now, if we look at this exercise, I'm going to do a downstroke right into an upstroke and then just do the upstrokes. So it'll sound like this. Okay, using my karate chop in between to cut off the chord. Notice that I still have that motion. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay. Then we're going to make a chord change to the 5 chord. So this is the 1 chord. Say we're playing a blues in B. The 1 chord, the root is B. We've got a B7 chord. 5 chord, magic L. The root's going to be an F sharp, 9th fret of the A string. And you can see I've tabbed out a common 7th chord, Beatles E7 chord, which is actually the C7. We learn in open position. Just moved up to so that the root's on the 9th fret of the A, and we're just sounding the notes from the A string to the B string. So those outside strings, we want to have those muted, right? Put this together. Okay, we're working on that shuffle. We want to get that bounce in there and get nice, smooth timing. All right, a little bit slower. Oops. Clanked it. Great little exercise, super simple, but deceptively a little bit more than simple. Simple in idea, but maybe not as simple in execution. So definitely something to work on to kind of just get those upstrokes nice and strong. You're making that mistake. Sounds ugly, right? Means one of my fingers is getting lazy, right? I'm adding in that 9th fret. I got to curl that up. All right, Stephen Harris, been a while. Love the Friday jams. Well, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for joining tonight, and definitely catch up on them. They're all up here on the channel. Exercise 7, the Droney chord progression. Okay, so the trick with this one is that we're sort of outlining some chord shapes, but muting a string in between. So I've got, I'm droning off the open A string, and I've got the 2nd fret of the D and 2nd fret of the B string. But I don't want to sound out the G string. So the way to have that happen is you have to position your middle finger correctly so that you've got some flesh on that G string so that it doesn't ring out. So this is the exercise here. Okay, so we're just moving some notes up the fretboard. Pretty cool, okay? Outlining either an A major or maybe even an A7 there. Going to a D over A. This is a D triad shape against the open A, okay? And then outlining maybe a C/A, something like that. Has a bluesy kind of sound to it. And then moving that same shape up to the 7th fret, okay? You do the same thing on a different string set, playing out of an open D chord. This time it's the B string I want to mute. Really cool sound to it. And, you know, if you wanted to open it up a little bit, this riff actually sounds good over the A if you actually include the open G string. Okay. It does work, but on the D chord, it's a little trickier. You have that B note in there, it gives it a different flavor. Okay, so that's the 6 against a D, right? If you had a B to a D chord, you're sort of making it a D6. So it's a little bit of a different tonality. It's kind of cool, but it might not work depending on what you're doing. But just by itself, it's kind of cool. Right? But it definitely sounds a lot more focused when you mute that B string. And of course, if you rev it up, it's the Jimmy Page. That kind of thing, right? All right, Droney chord progression. Work on your muting. Okay, that's sort of the sort of side technique thing to kind of work on a little bit. And it sounds great on acoustic, by the way. Yes, my last name is in fact that. Rob. All right. Exercise 8, legato exercise. What does legato mean? We are going to pick a flurry of notes just one time per string and use hammer-ons and pull-offs to finish off, okay, that kind of stuff. Yes, I got it for Christmas, the Gibson beanie. Is Droney the real name for those chords? No. Droney, I was just describing what it sounds like because we've got the drone. I use Droney because we've got that. The root note is kind of staying throughout all of those chords. You're moving those chords up and down, and you've got the root note drone going. So it's just a description. It's not a proper name for anything. All right, Rob, looking forward to it. We'll see you Monday. All right. Exercise 8, legato exercise. So let's just look at this. Okay. So I'm going to pick the 7th fret of the low string, hammer on to 10, pull off to 7, hammer on to 9. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing on the A string. Okay? Then I've got a different shape on the D and G strings. It's a little bit wider. Okay? 7th fret on the D, hammering on to 11 on the D, pulling off back to 7, hammering on to 9. And doing that on the G string as well. So, okay. B string, I'm going to move it up 1 fret, but it's still, now it's the 8th fret to 12, pulling off to 8, hammering on to 10. So it's the same as what was on the D and G string, but I have to move it up 1 fret onto the B string to make it work out, okay? And then the last one is 9, 10, 12 on the high string. And then I'm going to pull off 1 more time back to 9 and end on the root of the scale that we're using, B minor, and ending on the B note. So when I put it together, okay? So just working on those hammer-ons and pull-offs and trying, a little bit of distortion works really well, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Okay? But it tends to sound a little bit better, you know, kind of, you know, the faster you get with a little bit of distortion, but you can even work on that on the acoustic. There's plenty of acoustic guys that use legato kind of lines on the acoustic. And you really got to strengthen those fingers to make it happen. All right, little exercise there. Exercise 9, the country lick. Okay, so let's spank it out a little bit here. Let's see if I can. Let's see, let's clean it up a little bit here. Okay, so we've got, we're playing at a sort of a G7 sound, so using the G blues scale, okay, a little bit of a different position than you would normally, you know, you might use it this way. But when you're down the next position before it, you've got this chromatic thing going on, 2 to 3 on the G, which is a slide. And now you can use some open strings, open B string, open G string, and then pulling off from the 2nd fret to the open D string. Okay, so. Then a little slide here from 1 to 2 on the A string and getting the open D string. Let that ring out with the G note, 3rd fret of the low string. Oh. Cool little thing there, okay? Even if you experiment a little bit with, you know, using some hybrid picking on something like that, you could spank it out a little bit more even, right? All right. Final exercise of the night. Let's go back here. Need a little bit of. Okay. So let me just play through this and talk about it a little bit. Fun little technique thing, you know, a little more intermediate, but definitely a cool little thing to outline some chord shapes and make it sound pretty, you know, kind of advanced and complex. It's sort of an Eric Johnson-y kind of thing to do here. Let's see. Okay, that's sort of the idea with this, okay? So what if you took a C major chord with the root on the 5th string and you forget about the G string, and now you've got the 3rd fret of the A, 5th fret of the D string, and then you're also going to use whatever is on the B string for that chord, okay? So I'm fretting it with 3 fingers like that. And what I'm going to do is, these are in groups of 3. So I'm going to pick, starting from the A string to the D string in one motion. Okay, down, down. And then I'm going to use hybrid picking on the middle finger to pluck the B string. Now, what you want to try and do with this, start it slow. What you don't want are the notes to bleed into each other. Like a chord strum, you want the notes to be distinct. So as soon as I go down to the D string, I want to lift off that C note. I want to cut it off. You want to cut off each note. So this is the way to sort of practice this, is just take the first one. Okay. Moving it up to D, same shape. And then up to the 7th position, it just changed the B string to the 8th fret. And you're outlining E minor at this point. Okay, that's the idea. And then there's these other chord shapes that are sort of inversions, right? Like you could go C/E, which would be this shape. But again, we're not worried about the G string. So this is a little bit tougher to grab. 7th fret of the A, 10th fret of the D, and then 8th fret of the B. Same picking idea, right? 2 downstrokes, same motion, and then a pluck on the B string. Move that from D/F sharp, which is 2 frets up, and end up with the shape that we started with, which is out of the major chord shape for G, right? This is G note, 10th fret of the A string. Kind of end it off that way, right? So there you go. A little bit of an advanced thing to end it off. I kind of always do something like that at the end of these sessions, but I appreciate you hanging out tonight. We had a really great turnout for having been gone over the holidays, so I super appreciate that. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. I'm glad you're all here. Hope we had a good time tonight. I hope you found something out of all these examples to inspire you, something to work on. Because playing guitar is the greatest thing, right? So we want to have any excuse to be able to be inspired to do it, right? Oh, cool, man. Thanks so much, Elias. Thanks, Danny. Thank you, HH. Thanks, Jody1. Stephen Harris. Yeah, this is, I explained it earlier. If you rewind, I'll talk about it, but it's a parts caster. I built it, I kind of put it together myself out of parts. The body's from eBay and the neck's from Warmouth, and then just puts, pickups are from Lawler, and just threw it together. Super happy with it. Congrats on the Squire. That's really cool. Right on, Rusty. Thank you, Peter. Chad, right on. Thanks, King50 and Rob. Right on, man. Check out the channel. There's lots more on there. And of course, we'll be here same time every Friday moving forward. All right. Jim Gregory. All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Nikki the dog. Thank you, Mick. Igor. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for the kind words and for sticking around this whole time. I appreciate it. I seem a lot more rested. I tell you what, 2 weeks off, and I took the 2 weeks. So yes, thank you. I did quite enjoy it. So we're back in the saddle though. All right. So again, have a great weekend. Into next week, have a great week. And I hope to see you on Friday. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon. Cheers.